Heart disease is the #1 killer in the world today. And the heart is a muscle. You can strengthen the heart and you can weaken the heart. What the heart pumps is blood. And so the viscosity of the blood, the contents of the blood makes a difference, but also the blood vessels.
Imagine this. Every day, you believe you're making the best choices for your heart health. You've cut back on fats, chosen whole grains, and maybe even skipped the salt shaker a few times. But what if I told you that these well-intentioned decisions might not be as beneficial as you think? What if some of the foods you consider healthy could actually be harming your heart? Meet Dr. Barbara O'Neill, a world-renowned health expert known for her holistic and natural approach to wellness. With years of experience and numerous success stories to back her, Dr. Barbara is here to reveal some surprising truths about what you eat and how it affects your heart. Today, she's uncovering 5 common foods that are often mistaken for healthy, but could be secretly damaging your heart. Stay with us throughout this video, as these insights could be crucial for your health and longevity. You won't want to miss a single detail. Food 1. Carbohydrates. Most people associate high cholesterol and heart disease with fatty foods, but did you know that carbohydrates can also be a major culprit? Your liver makes cholesterol, and about 80% of this cholesterol is made from glucose, a type of sugar that comes from carbohydrates, not fats. This means it's not the butter on the bread that's the primary problem, but rather the bread itself. Many of us have been misled into thinking that fat is the enemy when it comes to cholesterol. But here's a surprising fact: when you consume a high-carb diet, especially one rich in refined sugars and grains, your liver converts that excess glucose into cholesterol. These sugars can cause the walls of your arteries to become sticky. Imagine your arteries as smooth pipes that help circulate blood. When you eat too many carbs, especially simple sugars, they cause your blood to become sticky, leading to plaque buildup in your arteries. This buildup can eventually lead to blockages, increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. How can you manage this? To protect your heart, consider reducing your intake of refined carbohydrates. This doesn't mean you have to cut out carbs entirely, but rather focus on complex carbohydrates like whole grains, fruits, and vegetables that release glucose more slowly into your bloodstream. This gradual release helps keep your blood sugar levels stable, reducing the risk of cholesterol overproduction by your liver. If you're enjoying these tips and want to keep up with more great health advice, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you'll be the first to catch our next video with even more helpful insights. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss out on anything. Food 2.
Table salt is such harsh minerals, you inject that straight into the blood, you would kill a person. So let's say we've got someone having table salt on everything. So what's happening with sodium levels in their body? They're rising. And they're not eating any fresh fruit and vegetables because it takes too long, and they're so busy they just grab the quick mushy food that hardly needs 3 bites and it's down. So what's happening to potassium levels? Potassium levels now are dropping. With the rise in sodium and the drop of potassium, sodium levels are rising in the blood. That causes the cell to swell. There's your high blood pressure. The doctor's right. This salt will contribute to high blood pressure.
Table salt. Next up is a kitchen staple that many of us use daily: table salt. While our bodies need sodium to function, the type of salt we commonly use can be problematic. Table salt is heavily processed and stripped of many beneficial minerals. It's typically bleached and mixed with anti-caking agents like aluminum to keep it from clumping. Dr. Barbara explains that seawater, from which table salt is derived, contains 92 minerals, but table salt is mainly composed of just sodium and chloride. Consuming too much of this refined salt can lead to an imbalance of sodium and potassium in your body, contributing to high blood pressure. When sodium levels are too high, your body retains water to dilute it, leading to increased blood volume and consequently higher blood pressure. Why is this important? High blood pressure forces your heart to work harder than it should, and over time, this increased effort can weaken your heart, making it less efficient at pumping blood. High blood pressure is a known precursor to heart disease and stroke, and it often goes unnoticed until it has caused significant damage. What should you do? Consider switching to natural salts like Himalayan pink salt or sea salt, which contain a broader spectrum of minerals and are less processed. More importantly, be mindful of your overall salt intake. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, with an ideal limit of 1,500 milligrams for most adults, especially those with high blood pressure. Food 3. Caffeine.
Caffeine disrupts the neurotransmitters in the brain. Caffeine causes an insulin response. Caffeine actually causes a crisis response. So when someone is in a crisis, their blood pressure rises to cope with the crisis. That's what caffeine does.
Caffeine is a widely consumed stimulant found in coffee, tea, energy drinks, and even some medications. While many people rely on caffeine for that extra boost of energy or to stay awake, the impact it has on your heart can be more complex and concerning than most realize. Dr. Barbara O'Neill explains that caffeine disrupts neurotransmitters in the brain and triggers an insulin response, which can cause a temporary spike in blood sugar levels. This initial surge might make you feel more alert, but it also puts your body into a crisis mode. When your body is in this state, your adrenal glands release adrenaline, causing your heart rate and blood pressure to rise to handle what it perceives as a stressful situation. Why is this harmful? When caffeine triggers this crisis response, your heart is essentially working harder than it needs to. This can be particularly dangerous for people with underlying heart conditions or those at risk for heart disease. The consistent consumption of caffeine over time can lead to chronic high blood pressure, hypertension, which is a significant risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Moreover, caffeine is a diuretic, meaning it increases urine production, which can lead to dehydration. Dehydration makes the blood thicker and more viscous, forcing the heart to pump harder to circulate blood throughout the body. This increased workload can stress the cardiovascular system, especially in individuals who consume multiple cups of coffee or energy drinks daily. Caffeine and heart rhythms. For those prone to atrial fibrillation, an irregular and often rapid heart rate, caffeine can exacerbate symptoms. Atrial fibrillation occurs when the heart's upper chambers, atria, beat irregularly, which can cause blood clots, stroke, heart failure, and other heart-related complications. Studies have shown that high caffeine intake can increase the risk of triggering these irregular heartbeats, particularly in sensitive individuals. Managing your caffeine intake. So, what should you do if you're a caffeine lover but concerned about your heart health? Start by gradually reducing your caffeine intake. If you're used to drinking multiple cups of coffee per day, try cutting back by 1 cup and replacing it with a non-caffeinated alternative, like herbal tea or water. Be mindful of other sources of caffeine as well, such as chocolate, certain sodas, and over-the-counter medications that may contain caffeine as an ingredient. It's also beneficial to monitor how your body responds to caffeine. Some people are more sensitive than others, and even small amounts can have a significant impact on their heart rate and blood pressure. By being aware of your own body's reactions, you can make more informed choices about how much caffeine is safe for you. Food 4. Stress-inducing foods. While not a single food, the foods that contribute to stress in your body should not be overlooked. These include highly processed foods, sugary snacks, and alcohol. Stress has a direct link to heart disease. When you are stressed, your body produces stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones increase your heart rate and blood pressure, preparing your body for a fight or flight response. Long-term effects of stress. Chronic stress can lead to behaviors and factors that increase heart disease risk. High blood pressure, cholesterol levels, smoking, physical inactivity, and overeating. Over time, high stress levels can contribute to the development of hypertension and other heart-related conditions. How to manage stress with diet. To combat stress, focus on a diet rich in whole foods, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and whole grains. These foods provide the nutrients needed to stabilize blood sugar and reduce the release of stress hormones. Also, consider incorporating stress-reducing practices like mindfulness, meditation, and regular physical activity into your routine to support heart health. Food 5. Tobacco products. Finally, tobacco use, particularly smoking, is one of the most harmful habits for your heart. Tobacco products contain numerous chemicals, many of which are toxic to the lining of your arteries. These toxins can cause inflammation and damage to the arterial walls, leading to atherosclerosis, a condition where plaque builds up and hardens in the arteries, restricting blood flow. The direct impact of smoking on the heart. Smoking not only damages the arteries, but also raises blood pressure and decreases the amount of oxygen that can reach the heart. This means your heart has to work harder, which can lead to an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. Even secondhand smoke poses a significant risk to cardiovascular health, making it essential to avoid environments where smoking is prevalent. Quitting tobacco. Quitting smoking is one of the most beneficial things you can do for your heart health. The risk of heart disease decreases significantly within just a few years of quitting. If you're struggling to quit, seek support from healthcare professionals who can provide resources like counseling, medication, or nicotine replacement therapies. Let me share a story with you about Henry, a 69-year-old retired judge. Henry was on 6 different medications for various health conditions, including high blood pressure and cholesterol. Initially, he was content with his medications, but we introduced him to natural remedies like hawthorn berry tea and sea pepper. 4 months later, Henry lost 20 kilos and experienced significant improvements in his health. His blood pressure normalized, his cholesterol levels dropped, and he was taken off all his medications by his doctor. Henry's story is a powerful reminder of the body's ability to heal when we provide it with the right nutrients and eliminate harmful substances. We've uncovered some surprising truths today about the foods and habits that can secretly harm your heart. From understanding how carbohydrates impact your cholesterol levels to recognizing the hidden dangers of everyday table salt, caffeine, stress, and tobacco, you now have a clearer picture of how these factors influence your heart health. But there's still so much more to explore. Now that you've mastered these 5 game-changing insights, there's another topic that could be crucial for your overall health. In the next video, we'll dive into 7 worst snacks that feed cancer cells, uncovering how certain seemingly innocent snacks can contribute to cancer growth and how you can avoid them to protect your well-being. This isn't just another tip or trick. It's a transformative approach that could completely change the way you think about your diet and health. So, if you're ready to continue your journey to optimal health and uncover these hidden dietary dangers, click here to watch the next video now. Remember, your health is in your hands. Let's keep it thriving together.